Welcome back to the Road Trip Kingdom Builders, Road Trippers, Akeem and Akatim, brothers and sisters, mothers, fathers, aunties and uncles, grandmas and grandpas. Shalom, shalom, peace and blessings to each and every single one of you. That's correct, man. This Shabbat. All right, Shabbat shalom, man. Shalom, shalom, peace and blessings in those homes, those dwelling places, right? Loved ones, friends, children, and pets. Them fur babies, right? The beloved. Yeah, we love it all, man. All praises to the Most High. Shalom, man. All praise to the Most High. Abana Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. All right. Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Through Yahweh Shai, right? For Yahweh Shai. To Yahweh Shai. The door. That's correct, man. Glory. Honors to the Ruach. That's right. Wisdom. My love and my respect to you. Let's get ready to read, all right? Let's get ready to read. We're back here, gonna finish this up. The life of Flavius Josephus, the life of Josephus, chapter 72, all the way to the door, 72 through 76. And then we're looking at, they may have some Latin things like here that we can read at the end. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens when we get there. But anyway, all praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh. Who? Yahweh, man. Yahweh, the Father, man. The overseer. All right. If you got these scrolls, go ahead and follow along with me. If not, then hey, just sit back and relax. That's my job. I'm here to read for you, the people, the nation. Hallelujah. The Yahudim. All praise to the Most High. No further ado. The life of Josephus, chapter 72. Let's begin. Let's get it. Chapter 72, and it reads, As soon as I had gotten intelligence of this, I sent 2,000 armed men and a captain over them, whose name was Jeremiah, who raised the siege bank a furlong off Julias, near to the river Jordan, and did no more that skirmish with the enemy, until I took 3,000 soldiers myself and came to them. But on the next day, when I had laid an ambush in a certain valley not far from the banks, I provoked those that belonged to the king to come to the battle, and gave orders to my own soldiers to turn their backs upon them, until they should have drawn the enemy away from their camp, and brought them out into the field, which was done accordingly for Selah. Supposing that our party did really run away, and ready to pursue them, when our soldiers that lay in ambush took them at their rear and put them all into great disorder. Salake. I also immediately made a sudden turn with my own forces and met those of the king's party, and put them to flight. And I had performed great things that day, if a certain fate had not been my hindrance. For the horse on which I rode, and upon whose back I fought, fell into quagmire and threw me on the ground, and I was bruised on my wrist and carried into a village named Capharnomi, or Capernaum, right? When my soldiers heard of this, they were afraid I had been worse hurt than I was, and so they did not go on with their pursuit any further, but returned in very great concern for me. I therefore sent for the physicians, and while I was under their hands, I continued feverish that day. And as the physicians directed, I was that night removed to Terakai. That's the end of chapter 72. All right, hallelujah. Let's continue. Chapter 73 reads, When Silla and his party were informed what happened to me, they took courage again, and understanding that the watch was negligently kept in our camp, they by night placed a body of horsemen in ambush beyond Jordan. And when it was day, they provoked us to fight. And as we did not refuse it, but came into the plain, the horsemen appeared out of the ambush in which they had lain, and put our men into disorder, and made them run away. So they killed 6 men of our side. Yet did they not go off with the victory at last. For when they heard that some armed men had sailed from Terakai to Julias, they were afraid and retired. That's the end of chapter 73. All right, Mishpakai? Cool. Chapter 74. It was not now long before Vespasian came to Tyre, and King Agrippa with him. But the Tyrians, began to speak reproachfully of the king and called him an enemy to the Romans. For they said that Philip, the general of his army, had betrayed the royal palace and the Roman forces that were in Jerusalem, and that it was done by his command. When Vespasian heard of this report, he rebuked the Tyrrhenians for abusing a man who was both a king and a friend to the Romans, but he exhorted the king to send Philip to Rome to answer for what he had done before Nero. But when Philip was sent there, he did not come into the sight of Nero, for he found him very near death on account of the troubles that had happened and a civil war, and so he returned to the king. But when Vespasian was come to Ptolemais, the chief men of Decapolis of Syria made a clamor against Justus of Tiberias, because he had set their villages on fire. So Vespasian delivered him to the king, who to be put to death by those under the king's jurisdiction. Yet did the king only put him into bonds and concealed what he had done from Vespasian, as I have before related. But the people of Sepphoris met Vespasian and saluted him, and had forces sent him with Placidus, their commander. He also went up with them, as I also followed them, until Vespasian came into Galilee. As to which coming of his, and after what manner it was ordered, and how he fought his first battle with me near the village Terakai, and how from there they went to Jotapata, and how I was taken alive and bound, and how I was afterward freed, and all that was done to me in the Jewish war, and during the siege of Jerusalem. I have accurately related them in the books of concerning the war of the Jews, the Yahudim. However, it will, I think, be fit for me to add now an account of those actions of my life which I have not related in the book of the Jewish war. That's the end of chapter 74. Chapter 75 reads, For when the siege of Jotapata was over, and I was among the Romans, I was kept with much care by means of the great respect that Vespasian showed me. Moreover, at his command I married a virgin who was from among the captives of the country. Yet she did not live with me long, but was divorced upon my being free from the bonds, and my going to Alexandria. However, I married another wife at Alexandria, and was sent from there with Titus to the siege of Jerusalem, and was frequently in danger of being put to death, while both the Yahudim were very desirous to get me under their power in order to have me punished, and the Romans also, whenever they were beaten, supposed that it was occasioned by my treachery, and made a continual clamors to the emperors, and desired that they would bring me to punishment as a traitor to them. But Titus Caesar was well acquainted with the uncertain fortune of war, and returned to answer to the soldiers' vehement solicitations against me. Moreover, when the city Jerusalem was taken by force, Titus Caesar persuaded me frequently to take whatever I would of the ruins of my country, and said that he gave me leave to do so. But when my country was destroyed, I thought nothing else to be of my value, which I could take and keep as a comfort under my calamities. So I made this request to Titus, that my family might have their liberty. I had also the holy books, the Kodesh books, by Titus's concession, nor was it long after that I had asked of him the life of my brother and of 50 friends with him, and was not denied. When I also went once to the temple by the permission of Titus, where there were a great multitude of captive women and children, I got all those that I remembered as among my own friends and acquaintances, to be set free, being in number about 190, and so I delivered them without their paying any price of redemption, and restored them to their former fortune. And when I was sent by Titus Caesar with Cerelius and 1,000 horsemen to a certain village called Thecoa, in order to know whether it were a place fit for a camp, as I came back, I saw many captives crucified, and remembered 3 of them as my former acquaintance. I was very sorry at this, and went with tears in my eyes to Titus, and told him of them. So he immediately commanded them to be taken down, and to have greatest care taken of them, in order to their recovery. Yet 2 of them died under the physician's hands, while the 3rd recovered. That's the end of chapter 75. We got one more to finish up the life of Josephus. Let's go. Chapter 76, and it reads, But when Titus had composed the troubles in Judea, and conjectured that the lands which I had in Judea would bring me no profit, because a garrison to guard the country was afterward to pitch there, he gave me another country in the plain. And when he was going away to Rome, he chose me to sail along with him, and paid me great respect. And when we were come to Rome, I had a great care taken of by Vespasian, for he gave me an apartment in his own home, where he lived before he came to the empire. So also honored me with the privilege of a Roman citizen, and gave me an annual pension, and continued to respect me to the end of his life, without any abatement of his kindness to me, which very thing made me envied and brought me into danger. For a certain Yahudi, whose name was Jonathan, who had raised a disturbance in Cyrene, and had persuaded 2,000 men of the country to join with him, was the occasion of their ruin. But when he was bound by the governor of the country and sent to the emperor, he told him that I had sent him both weapons and money. However, he could not conceal his bearing a liar from Vespasian, who condemned him to die, according to which sentence he was put to death. After that, when those that envied my good fortune did frequently bring accusations against me by Yahweh's providence, I escaped them all. I also received from Vespasian no small quantity of land as a free gift in Judea, about which time I divorced my wife also, as not pleased with her behavior, though not until she had been the mother of 3 children, of whom 2 of whom are dead, and one, whom I named Hyrcanus, is alive. After this I married a wife who had lived in Crete, but the Jewess by birth, a woman, she was of eminent parents, and such as were the most illustrious in all the country, and whose character was beyond that of most other women, as her future life did demonstrate. By her I had 2 sons. The elder's name was Justus, and the next Simonius, who was also named Agrippa. And these were the circumstances of my domestic affairs. However, the kindness of the emperor to me continued still the same. For when Vespasian was dead, Titus, who succeeded him in the government, kept up the same respect for me which I had from his father. And when I had frequent accusations laid against me, he would not believe them. And Domitian, who succeeded, still augmented his respect to me, for he punished those Yahudim that were my accusers, and gave command to the servant of mine, who was a eunuch by my accusers, should be punished. He also made that country I had in Judea tax-free, which is a mark of the greatest honor to him who has it. In fact, Domatia, the wife of Caesar, continued to do me kindness. And this is the account of the actions of my whole life, and let others judge of my character by them as they please. But to you, O Epaphroditus, who you most excellent of men, do I dedicate all this treatise of our antiquities. And so, for the present, I here conclude the whole. That's the end of chapter 76. That's also the end of the life of Josephus. And there's a couple other little things here on the side that read we may thus correct the error of the Latin copy of the second book of Against Appian, Sect 8, for the Greek is there lost, which says there were then only 4 tribes or courses of the priests instead of 24. Nor is the testimony to be disregarded as of Josephus. There contradicted what he had affirmed here, because even the account there given better agrees to 24 than of 4 courses, while he says that each of those courses contained about 5,000 men, which multiplied by only 4 will make not more than 20,000 priests, whereas the number 120,000 is as multiplied by 24 seems probable, they being about 1/10 of the whole people even after the captivity. See Ezra chapter 2 verse 36 through 39, and also Nehemiah chapter 7 39 through 42. Also 1 Esdras chapter 5 24 through 25, with Ezra chapter 2 verse 64. Nehemiah chapter 7 verse 66, and also 1 Esdras chapter 5 verse 41. Nor will this common reading or notion of but 4 courses of priests agree with Josephus' own further assertion elsewhere, Antiquities 7:14-7, that David's partition of the priest into 24 courses had continued to the day. That's the end of the little first thing. See what I'm saying? And we can read some more of those. We'll get some of those. But right now, we're going to go ahead and finish up this. And all praises to the Most High. Shalom, shalom, peace and blessings. Thanks for riding along with me, road trippers. We're going to get right back in some more of this. All right? Please be safe out there as you travel and drive up and down the road. And you already know the drill. It's always all praises to the Most High. Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. I love each and every single one of you, and I'll see you real soon. That's right. Yeah.